All right. Hi, everybody. I'm here with Jaune. She is a paranormal investigator and a psychic medium. And we are going to dive into her paranormal life a little bit, and I'll ask some questions along the way. If you want to introduce yourself and kind of take it away.
Sure. My name is Jaune. I'm a psychic medium. You can find me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at The Spirit Connection. I am also a reader. I do read tarot. I read for a company called Purple Ocean, Purple Garden. So you can download that app and find me as Psychic Medium Jaune.
Awesome.
Also,
So,
I'm a local paranormal investigator. I'm on a team. Sorry, I forgot to mention that, called Yakima Paranormal. I'm kind of thinking about splitting off and doing my own thing, but I've been doing that for a number of years.
oh, that's awesome. So, how do I word this? How did you know you were a medium? I guess we'll start with.
Well, it started when I was, gosh, younger, like 5 or 6. I didn't know exactly what the word was or what it actually was, but I was raised in the house that my dad was raised in, and my grandmother was raised in, and all my great aunts and great grandparents were raised in. So it had been around since the late 1800s, and um, my grandmother died before I was born, probably about 8 years before I was born. And I remember in this house, I kept on seeing like shadows. I would see this woman, I would hear this woman, and I'd just talk to me and tell me things about my family. And, you know, I would have people in my room, especially at night, that I wouldn't know, but I would have that familiar sense with them. So I finally started telling my parents, and I was asking my dad because that was his mother, and she died when he was 16. So there were some things that even he didn't know that he would have to go to his aunts and ask about. And it turns out I was correct about some things like on the family history, some things that she had been through. Um, and that's when I kind of started just going along with it. Um, and of course, being raised in like a Catholic family, it wasn't really well looked upon, but I felt comforted by it. So that's when I knew that I was quote unquote different or had different abilities than the people around me. Um, and then I think when I was about, I don't know, maybe I remember mid 90s or something, about 94, 95, I started watching this show called In Search of on A&E, and they had this um clip of with Sylvia Brown way back in the day before Sylvia Brown was Sylvia Brown. Um, and she was talking about some of the things that she could do, and I'm like, that sounds familiar. That's what I am. That's what I am. So I started to kind of push it away because it was getting scary. I feel like as puberty came along, it got a little scary for me because my emotions, and I kept on attracting more things. Um, are And of course, as you close it off, spirit always tries to push it harder on you. And then I finally just leaned into it in my late 20s and haven't looked back. So that was pretty much my journey. And along the way, I became interested in like paranormal investigating and kind of uh, wondering what life was beyond this physical reality. So
Right. That's
yeah.
that's really cool. So, your abilities, do you hear, see, and feel, or how do yours
Um,
work?
all of it. I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, and claircognizant. Um, every now and then I'll get like smells, so I'm not quite what do you call it, clairalience, but I'm starting to get into that. But generally how it happens is that the spirit will use whatever works with the way that they want to communicate with me. I'm primarily clairaudient, and then but a lot of times, I'll once they kind of start, I guess, start to trust me, or I'm open, the connection is clear, I'll start getting random images that I can reference to at a million miles a minute and then interpret it with what I'm feeling and what's coming through, what I know, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, it does. So are you like Teresa Caputo when you're walking by everybody and like you get a whole flood of information around random people all the time, or have you learned how to kind of manage that?
I learned how to manage it. My day job, I work in law enforcement. It's my muggle job, so I don't want to know a lot of things. So I've learned to, and some people are not really open to the information that I have and given. I feel like it's a privacy matter, and so I've learned to kind of shut it down when I'm not going to be use my abilities, and open it up when I'm in the space for reading or people are reaching out for me for readings. Um,
Okay.
I just don't go around reading people because they may not be, it might do more harm than good, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Oh, that's really awesome that you're in law enforcement too.
Yeah.
Awesome. That was
Yeah.
a dream of mine for a long time, but I put that on hold. But that's not here nor there. This is about something completely different. So, let's go into the paranormal side of it. So, you have always seen and heard and everything. What really sparked your interest in getting into that part of it?
Um, I don't know if it was one thing, but I do remember in the early 2000s, when Ghost Hunters was on and Taps really kind of exploded. I'm like, I I I thought that my abilities could help that side of things, and I became really interested in how spirits can manipulate or use instruments to sort of quote unquote speak to us or manifest themselves, and have that scientific side of things. And um then through that I became interested in more of like trying to teach people with psychic abilities how to you know ghost hunt or be a paranormal investigator, and not just kind of view everything through a fear lens, um and just to go about it in a way that's practical, um and respectful. Most of all, respectful.
Oh, absolutely. That's important. What are some of the places you've gone to? What are your favorite place? Because you're on the other coast, so I'm curious to where you guys get to investigate and stuff.
Yeah, I'm in Washington State in the Pacific Northwest. Um my team in here, in our town, there's a place called the Yakima Sports Center. It's been my favorite place to investigate because the Yakima Sports Center, it's downstairs, it's a bar, but it's been around since the early 1900s, since the town came into existence. So it started off as kind of like a hotel, and then it went into a vaudevillian theater. And so the bottom stairs is like a bar and entertainment center, but on the top stairs is rooms. And the top stairs have basically been closed off since the 1970s. So it's like a time capsule in there. The original windows, original kind of like what would you see early 1900 wood trim, sinks and everything like that. And then slowly around the 70s, there were some illegal activities taking place there, and where people who were not well accepted by society would go to stay. Um, and so there's a lot of different energies and entities there upstairs that have their own individual unique personality and have their own kind of like individual story. So I know in one room there's this lady named Gloria who used to be a lady of the night. She doesn't like to be called, prostitute or anything like that. She was a respected lady of the night, but she's real funny and she doesn't like cussing. And whenever she does, she'll kind of like, somebody does cuss, she will shut our equipment off.
Oh,
And then there's another one that is real raunchy and loves to joke. We can catch her on EVPs joking around. And then there's another one in there who, from when I was getting, died at the beginning of the AIDS pandemic because he was homosexual and living there because his family had cast him out, but they accepted him there. So he's still living there and he likes to play with the electronics as well. So that was really my favorite place to um experiment. But we are interested. What's real interesting right here is that you have this dynamic. We're next to the Oregon Trail, so we have a lot of the old abandoned schools from the 1800s, abandoned places and homes from the 1800s where settlers were starting. But we also have a reservation and a lot of native tribes here. So we've got that energy of that clash that was happening. And there's places around here that I could go, like the St. Joseph Missions, where there was actual like a local Native American white settler war and see the people that were buried and died there. And that place carries a sad but interesting energy about it, you know. So um, also one of my favorite places around here to investigate has been the Capitol Theater. It's one of the nationally known haunted places around here. That was an old vaudevillian theater, and there was a maintenance guy there that, or a screen manager guy there that died there. His name was, excuse me, Shorty, and he just kind of stayed there. But a lot of the what I call kind of like walk-ins sort of spirits, people that had performed there, uh, come in. They just come in to like visit. And you can catch them all the time. And you can go up top to this on the top floor and see where some of the famous people that um performed there signed their signature on the wall. There's like so there's signatures of like Bob Hope and Lucille Ball. I think George Burns is there. So that's a really good place to investigate as well.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
That's neat.
yeah. So
So obviously all of our land at one point or another was Native American, but the known reservations, do you feel that that holds more energy due to the native side of it, or do you not think that makes much of a difference?
I think it holds a lot more energy because of the native side of it. Um, Matter of fact, the office that I work for is on native land, and I've worked on non-native land before in the same capacity, and it holds a completely different energy. There's a lot of generational trauma on the land. There's a lot of like scars on the land where some violent things have happened, and there's still in that area just a lot of resentment towards non-native people. You know, the
Right.
part where they've held that resentment so long in the family, they don't even know why they're resentful. They just don't trust anybody that's non-native for the most part. So it definitely holds it.
That makes sense. So I'm sorry, you're one of very few mediums that I've actually talked to that are like that I resonated with. Um, so do you feel like newer passings, I guess we'll say, hold less of that grudge because we have so much more advanced knowledge now? Do you think that makes a difference?
Yes, I do think it makes a difference. Um, my overall One of the reasons why I like working on a reservation is because one, I get to be one of the few people that they eventually learn to trust, but and to show them how they should be treated. But I can also connect with people, who were native, died on native land, and they're kind of telling me their how they went through their life review and how now they see things differently and how they've healed and how they're coming back to their land, to their family to help it heal. And it's kind of going through this transitional process right now. Um, I can't explain exactly what it is, but it feels like it's just that point in time where it's time to heal. So it's changing, but it's also in like this weird transition phase as well, at least on the reservation that is here and that I work on.
Okay. I've got another strange question. So you see all of the, I mean, maybe it's not strange. I don't know. Maybe it's just my brain moving at a million miles a minute, but you always see like memes and jokes and stuff on Facebook of like, oh, there's no spirits from like, I don't know, 2010 that's going to come out and start twerking. Stupid, stupid, silly stuff like that. Do you think
Right.
that because of, how do I word this now? my mind is flowing now. You have a green aura around you. I'm sorry. I just need to tell you that. And it is very, very prominent.
No,
I'm
I'm
sure
not
you
so much of
already
an
knew
aura
that.
reader. What is that?
Oh my goodness. I just see like this green light that is just like encompassing you. And I've never seen an aura so clear before, ever. And it is just tripping me out. But you have like green all around you. And it's a dark green, but then it's bright green.
Huh.
It's
What does
good.
that mean?
That's a good thing. Green is usually like light and happy, and to me anyway. So I mean, you just
Yeah.
seem like you have that openness to you, and it's just
Yeah.
like radiating off of you.
Oh,
I
thank
just
you.
figured I'd share. You're welcome. Um, now I lost my thought. Oh, the new spirits. Do you think that it's so we always pick up on energy as paranormal investigators that seems like it's 60, 70 years old.
Right.
Do you think that the energy now is too new to pick up on, and later on down the road that, when my grandkids or something decide to be paranormal investigators down the road, if they'll pick up on energy from the early 2000s or mid 2000s?
Yeah, and that's interesting. Because I've actually thought about it. It's like, why am I only connecting with people, or mainly connect with people that are like dressed in Victorian styles, or something like that? But no, I do often connect with the younger, more recently deceased people, and the overall feeling that I get, it's not that I've heard clairaudiently, it's just kind of this claircognizant, is that, when we pass through the other side, time is not like we experience it here, that, they go through their life review. Some of them may have to go through like a healing process, some may go through an educational process. They choose different paths, and I feel like the spirits that we often see in paranormal hauntings have gone through that process and are now ready to manifest here, as they feel comfortable. I also feel like the younger, more recently deceased people are kind of in their soul healing time. They're on their soul healing journey on the other side. So it's not that they can't or won't, manifest themselves, because sometimes they do. It's just that they've got better things to do than to talk to our equipment, if that makes sense. Whereas like the
Absolutely.
people of the Victorian age have kind of already been through that, and already along on their journey, and are now ready to maybe somewhat reincarnate. Because I do feel like a lot of these people that we catch on equipment are the feeling is almost like almost ready to reincarnate kind of feeling.
Okay. I like that theory. So they're more prevalent because they're ready to go somewhere else.
Right, they're ready to do different things. They've kind of gone through whatever their soul contract needed to go through on the other side, the healing, the learning, and everything, and now they're kind of more at the next level of involvement in their spiritual journey and in their vibration kind of
Okay.
thing.
Yeah, I like that theory. I like that. That's a good thought process. I've never really thought about that, but everybody always wonders why you can't get like the newer energies, which I mean, I know you can, especially if you tap into it, but that makes a lot of sense. Anyways, so um yeah, that's really neat. Is there anywhere on your bucket list that you haven't gone to investigate yet that you would love to be able to go and see?
Oh, there's so many Waverly Hills, um up in the upper side of our state in Washington State. There's a place called Manresa Castle, and the Walker Ames house, and they're in the fairly same direction. But I always wanted to go there. But definitely places like Waverly Hills. I would love to investigate Stonehenge, like or like places like that. It just I have a calling to it. Um, and of course the Queen Mary, just kind of like the typical normal places that people want to go. Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, but I kind of also want to investigate like places like Ireland and Scotland, and just that have that whole medieval history, but Not necessarily a particular place, but at least the land and the land around it, and that would be a dream come true.
Yeah, I agree. I want to get overseas. My friend went to Romania and I don't know how much she's so into all of the paranormal stuff, but just the picture she shared was just incredible from the places that she went. So that would be really neat.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, to maybe investigate St. Peter's Basilica or something like that would be just awesome. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Do you have
Um,
like a favorite, do you prefer like houses, sanitariums, hospitals, asylums? Do you have a preference over that or jails even? I mean, I've been to a jail. That was pretty cool, but
yeah, well, I've actually been to the Idaho State Penitentiary when I lived in Idaho, and that was just crazy energy about it. It's like where they hated me and loved me at the same time. You know,
oh,
it was weird. I prefer to like investigate houses actually, especially when I'm helping families. Um, but I also I'm like a big fan of Victorian architecture and can get lost in that, and it almost like helps me um tune in a little bit better when I'm investigating, especially those type of houses. Oh, the Lizzie Borden house. I would love to go investigate the Lizzie Borden house. Oh my God. That's like,
same.
yeah, or the Valiska Axe murder house. I would love that. Yeah.
Another good place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten out west much. I obviously I'm on the East Coast, so I mean, there's still a lot out here that I haven't explored, and those are probably one of the two like top of my list places to get out to.
Yeah.
But I've been to Salem. I'm wearing my Salem hoodie, but that's an intense place to be too. I
Oh,
love
I
Salem.
bet. With all the energy, witch trials, and House of Seven Gables and all that stuff, that would be amazing to experience.
Awesome place. Well, I had a question and now it just blew out of my head.
Related to investigating equipment.
It's good. Well, do you use any equipment? What equipment do you like to use?
I do. I like to use, well, I bought this little recorder for like $7, an EVP recorder, and it just catches the most clear EVPs ever. I like the Estes method, and so that is what I use. But I also love, I'm not too fond of trigger objects, but of course an EMF detector. I like that because it's like almost like real-time interaction. And it's something that, I could live video on and things like that. I also have a spirit box. Um, I'm an affiliate with US Ghost Adventures Touring Club, so they send me a lot of their stuff. And
Oh, nice.
there's the Sinister speaker box. And I love this because it's really vintage looking. And you can record EVPs. You can and it's a spirit box, and it's pretty clear too. It's about as good as the SB7. So, but I do like to walk around with my EMF detector because it's real life interaction, you know.
Right.
Um, and I also like to use it in conjunction with my EVP recorder because a lot of times it's weird on the EVP recorder you'll hear me responding to them as if we're having a conversation, but of course in real time you can't hear what they're normal people can't hear what they're responding to, but I can, but then you can hear the whole entire conversation on an EVP recorder. So it further validates uh, that fact that spirit is around.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to a place and say that 100 people have investigated it, but you pick on something that nobody else has even like thought of before? Does that happen and how do you validate that for yourself? Is it
I think it's happened one time. around here, where there was some activity going on in this house. A number of other investigators had been in there and hadn't figured it out. They would catch evidence, but what wouldn't really catch or understand the root cause of it. Um, and then so I went in with my team, and then I had picked up on that there used to be like a slaughterhouse, almost like in the backyard. Um, and all of that energy had just kind of collected there and stayed. And then there was this energy of two young children that had died on the property. Um, because this was property that was Native American land, but then the white settlers had taken it over and they had died about in that time. And all that energy kind of interacted together, and it almost created like a poltergeist type energy. So I picked up on that, and I picked up on who the little children were, the fact that there was slaughterhouse there, and it was there for over 50 years, so there was a lot of collective kind of like heavy energy there, and worked on moving it out. And as far as I've heard, the house hadn't had any activity since then. But no one was
Mhm.
able to figure out, because I feel like they view it through like this fear lens. Like, I hate it whenever, you'll see these shows or investigators are like, oh, everything's demonic. Fear this, fear that. And I'm like, oh, you're a freaking idiot. Just shut up. Because that's not it. Sometimes it's just energy that humans have created that's traumatic, and it stays there. We affect the environment a lot more than what we think, just energetically, and by being, whatever actions we take. And it had just stayed there, and it kind of took on a life of its own, and I just moved it out. It's like, you got to go. You're kind of scaring the people here. So
Right.
I think that's the only incidents that I can really recall. Um, and I had then after that, someone on our team, our case manager, actually researched the deeds to the land and had found out that there had indeed been a slaughterhouse there. And I don't recall any of the other teams ever saying that, because we did try to get, what this other team had done, what they had not done, to try to see what we can do differently. And nobody ever caught that.
Oh, okay, that's really
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah.
Do you think attachments happen as often as people make them out to be?
No, no. I
Okay.
feel like people thinking that way is the attachment itself. Like people's own negative, crappy energy and the way they think and manifest that fear is the attachment itself. Like if you think about it, spirits are energy, they can move anywhere. Well, they've got probably better things to do than to be attached to a Raggedy Ann doll, you know? Um, so I feel like it's just that energy that people have projected onto that place or thing or object more often than not. I can't say that it never happens, but no, like if somebody thinks they're cursed, of course things around them are going to manifest like they're cursed, because that's the way they're thinking. And then, no, you're not cursed. You're just not seeing things for what they are, and you. It's easier to believe you're cursed and take accountability than your own actions for some people, kind of thing.
No, I agree with that. So if there's one thing with the paranormal that you could, I don't want to say change because everybody has their own like views and opinions and things, but I guess I'll use the word change. What would you change about the perception of the paranormal then? As far as like, well, everybody thinking that all entities are evil. That's something that drives me up the flippin' wall. Like,
It
not
does.
everything paranormal is evil. Like something like that. Is there something you would change?
Yeah, I would definitely change that. And I've also, what should I say? Um, I would like to change everybody just reacting to the energy, like, or thinking that certain celebrity paranormal investigators, that's the way you should investigate and that's the way you view things. Um, Hint, hint, I'm not talking about Jason Hawes and Grant Wilson and the TAPS team. I'm talking about another fairly known paranormal person. Because I really do think that the way to I like the way that Jason Hawes and Grant Wilson and Amy Rooney and that kind of side of things investigate, because they investigate with more empathy and less ego. But I've received a lot of backlash because I'm not exactly um a fan of the real life Ed and Lorraine Warren. Not that I have anything against them personally. I just feel like, while yes, Lorraine was, I do believe she was a clairvoyant, I also feel like she let her religious lens filter things too much. And the same with Ed Warren. Um, not anything personal against them. It's just that I don't, while yes, they've kind of brought the paranormal team to the mainstream, I don't feel like they're the correct people to follow or worship when it comes to being accurate.
I can I can understand that. I don't agree with antagonizing spirits. I think that that's
Yeah,
wrong. I just that's how I've always been. I've never been like a come on, hit me kind of person if you're
right.
here. And you see that a lot, I feel like, with
Yeah, and
amateur
after the spirit
investigators.
does what they ask them, then they deem them demonic. No, the spirit kind
Yes,
of pushed you because you're being a jackass.
exactly. Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
would rather be treated how I want to be treated. Like I'll go in and I'll say, just you can touch me as long as you don't hurt me. I'm not here to hurt you, whatever, like stuff like that. That's how I roll. And I feel like more people should emulate that, but that's just my personal
Yeah, like
opinion.
I'll go and like around a lot and investigate and kind of talk to a lot of the some of the cemeteries around here, because we've got a lot of old pioneer settlers, cemeteries that have been abandoned. And I'll just say, hey, have a good day, everyone. I'm just here to talk to you and get to know you, and I want to know your story. Because time has forgotten a lot of these people, and I just don't think they should be forgotten. So,
Absolutely.
and it works out really well for me. Matter of fact, there's about a month or so ago, and I posted on TikTok. I had some amazing like EMF interactions, photographic evidence from an abandoned cemetery where they had just been kind of forgotten, and they really showed up for me. They really showed up. Yeah, and that was awesome. That was a really awesome experience.
It sounds like it. That's really cool though. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
first thing of making sure nobody is forgotten is just recognizing them.
yeah,
So that's awesome. It might be a touchy subject, and if you don't want to answer, that's absolutely fine. But the religious side of it, you've brought it up a couple times. Do you feel that that hinders? I mean, you said Ed and the Rain kind of made it hinder them, but do you think that that hinders people a little bit too much sometimes on, like, I know there's a lot of people that, and again, this is not knocking anybody's belief, that believe in God and say that they can't believe in paranormal because the Bible says that they shouldn't, basically. Do you think that that has an
I
effect
think
on things?
I think people's interpretation of religion is what hinders them, not actually the belief in it. Um, because if you look at somebody like Teresa Caputo, who's Catholic, and she also doesn't really allow it to kind of affect her readings as much as I would say Lorraine Warren would. Um, but I always respond to people like that. Well, can you explain to me, if Jesus foretold the end of the world in Revelations, which is clairvoyance, how can it be wrong? Or if Jesus speaks to the dead, which is mediumship, how can it be wrong? What if we all have part of that Christ-like energy within us, and some are just more willing to listen to it than others, kind of thing. Jesus was a Reiki master, for God's sake. He healed a lot of energy. Um, you know, so I guess it depends on the person and how the person interprets it, and how extreme they want to take it. You
That's
know,
fair. I wouldn't say an argument, it was a friendly debate, but he got a little bit more heated than I did because whatever, that was his choices. But I said, how can you not believe that spirit doesn't exist when you pray to the Holy Spirit? And they
right?
didn't really have a response for that. So I'm in my own curiosities kind of starting to slide that into my questioning just because
Yeah.
it's just fascinating to me how different everybody's opinions and thoughts are on that. So, and
Well,
again,
it's
I
like
have my own beliefs but
right. It's like when people say, "Oh, the Holy Spirit spoke to me." Okay, Well, if a spirit spoke to you, why can't it speak to me? And that's mediumship kind of
Right.
thing, you know? Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
I get it. Yeah. I get that a lot to the point where I just don't care. Matter of fact, if people want to leave it in my comments, go ahead. I just boosts me up in the algorithm, I just don't respond to it. you know?
Matter of fact, I went live at my investigation Friday night and they told me that I need to find Jesus. Of course, I didn't comment on it, but it really did make me giggle, like in the long run, because like you don't know what my beliefs are just because I'm sitting in a place that has spirits all over the place. Like, I don't know. It was just fascinating to me that somebody would make such a comment, which again made me laugh, but
The whole funny thing about that is that, again, it'll boost like our videos because it shows engagement. But then on their algorithm will pick it up, so they'll keep on seeing more videos like that they don't want to see, that they hate, that makes them mad. And I'm like, this is the perfect example of like manifesting your own reality. It's just the
right.
algorithm form, you know? Yeah.
Well, they can be miserable and mad in their lives, I guess, but
Yeah. Hey,
I
boost
mean,
my
I know
list. Go ahead.
exactly. I know what my thoughts and views are. I don't care about others'
Yeah.
negativity towards what I do. I guess is where I'm at in my life now. So, well, thank you. That
Yep.
was kind of
Same there.
that was kind of touchy, but I appreciate you at least answering for me.
Yeah. I grew up a lot with that with my family until I just said, I can't do this. Love you, but I'll talk to you every once a month on the other side of the United States. You know. Um, yeah, and that's just the way it has to be, unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately. But do you have any other topics you might want to talk about, or do you have any other questions for me or anything like that?
Well, how did you become involved in the paranormal so much that you wanted to do a podcast about it?
My entire life has been paranormal, kind of similar to
Yeah.
you, actually. Um, when I was younger, I would have dreams that would come true, and people would think I was nuts because I'm like, oh, well, be careful walking down the street. Like, you're going to get followed home or you're going to get followed to whatever. And people would be like, you're nuts. Like, that's impossible. So I'm divorced now, but I actually almost ruined my engagement because I had a dream about him doing it. And I asked him about it, and he was like, there's no way. And I mean, he did lie right to my face. He's like, no, that's not what I'm going to do it, which was fine. I mean, I can understand that white lie. And he went to my mom actually, and he was like, she freaking do this all the time. And mom was like, yeah, she does that often. So it just kind of spiraled after that. I shut it off a lot, most of it actually. I would see like my little sister or who I thought was my little sister running across the room, and it wasn't her. So it was some little girl spirit that was in my old house that I would see all the time. Um, I'd seen my grandparents that had passed away. So it just, from there, I thought, okay, everybody can see these things. And it wasn't until I got a little bit older that people were like, yeah, I don't see that. And it was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'm a little crazy, who knows? But then as I started to be right, I started to think, well, maybe there is something about me that's a little bit different, maybe not off, but different. And then a few years ago, I got stuck at work. And unfortunately, the other person that had started this journey with me, we had a falling out, we'll just put it that way. And I kind of branched off and started doing this myself, which is where Beyond Logic came from. Um, but I love going to places and seeing what I can pick up on, especially if I've never been there before and I go in cold, so I don't know the history and I'll look
Mhm.
it up later
Yeah.
just to confirm it for myself. But seeing ghosts my entire life and just having things that I can't explain happen that I predicted would happen, that's kind of what just got me into this as a whole. So I started the podcast to, I guess, show others that they're one, not alone, and two, that this can be a lot of fun, but it's also really serious too at the same time. That
Right.
you got to have that balance.
Exactly.
And it's been a lot of
Um,
fun. I've met a lot of cool people. Oops, sorry.
no, that's okay. How did you start the podcast? Because I've been thinking about doing it myself, but I need to like vibe off of somebody else. Like almost like have a co-host or a stream of people that I can interview. How did you start doing that?
Well, I woke up one day and I said, you know what, I want to talk about paranormal. And it really didn't start as so much of a I want others to follow me type thing. It just kind of started growing. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if there's people that want to share their stories and stuff. So I posted on Facebook and I got honestly quite a bit more interest than I had anticipated. And I literally like scheduled myself out for 3, 4 months at a time for
Huh.
just different weekends and different people. And there's just so many people that want to get their story out there and they want to share their experiences because it is fun, especially when you have somebody else that's going to actually understand what you're talking about instead of
Yeah.
a bunch of people that look at you like you're insane 3/4 of the time. So
Right.
it's kind of grown from there, and that's the excuse me. When I started this, I obviously had a co-host. Um, he definitely helped me, I guess, along a little bit, but now doing it on my own, I'm so much more stress-free. I don't have to rely on anybody else. Um, and honestly, there was a lot of distaste from him from a lot of people that have come out after the fact. So me doing it myself, I've learned how to ask questions. Aside from when I get scatterbrained and excited and everything just flies out of my head or comes out in a jumbled mess like you witnessed a little while ago.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun and I just kind of let you guys take the reins because I feel like even though this is my podcast, I'm letting you share your story because that's just how I chose to format it. You could, I mean, I could literally spend hours and formulate questions for every different individual guest and stuff, but I kind of do this how I do my investigations where I learn as I go. So I like learning about people as I go rather than knowing a whole bunch of stuff right from the jump.
Yeah.
So it's really just kind of how you want to lay it out. I mean, there's some people that literally will go on and talk for an hour about the history of a place, and that gets mundane and it gets boring sometimes. I mean, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, by all means, I'm not knocking anybody's, you know, preferences or anything like that, but that's not my forte. I don't like listening about a bunch of history. I like listening to real life situations, real life stories, and real scenarios that happened because that's just more interesting to me than others' ways of
Right.
going about it.
Right. Um, do you do like any type of professional readings?
I have not, I mean, I do offer readings to people. I mean, I try to get myself out there a few times. It it's difficult unless you have somebody that's already got a following to kind of piggyback off of that instead of building my own presence, but I definitely do. I mean, like I said, I saw your aura, so I just felt the need to just spit
Right.
that out. I couldn't hold that in. Um, so like stuff like that, if I feel comfortable enough, I'll just kind of start spitting things out or be like, hey, if you don't mind, I'm going to tell you something.
Right.
But I do have a bunch of tarot cards because that's just been my thing. I've read tarot for many years. My mom read tarot for, well, she still does, I think. I don't know. I haven't spoken to my mom in a very long time, but um, yeah, I mean, I've tried to put myself out there. It's a little difficult, especially since, it's there's a lot of tarot readers out there, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but especially like here in my area, it's very, very saturated.
Right.
So,
Yeah, which is why I like reading for Purple Ocean. It's actually an app, and I can log on and do readings whenever I want to.
oh,
I
nice.
don't have a scheduled time, and it kind of reaches a worldwide audience, you know. And then I can choose what kind of readings I want to do, whether it's somebody just, write down what they want to know about, and I send them a video, within a certain amount of time, or do the live chat or um, phone readings like this, or even video readings like this. So that works out well for me with my busy schedule. And it helped me develop a lot more too than what I expected. Um, yeah. What was your first psychic experience? Like, what was the first time that you really thought, man, you know, you saw one of your dreams like actually come come true, and how did that affect you, should I say?
Ooh, good question. I was probably 16, and my best friend at the time, she was babysitting a lot. And for extra money, obviously, with being a teenager, that's the best way to make money.
Right.
I had this dream that she was walking towards this house. I said, "It's not your house, and I don't know who you're walking with." I was like, "But be careful. Like, something's not right." And she was like, "Okay." And I was like, "No, really." I was like, "Something, you're gonna get followed or something." I said, "Just please be careful and be aware of your surroundings." And in the dream, like I saw the street she was walking on, but my dreams are never exactly how they are. They're very similar, but I kind of have to do some putting together of pieces every once in a while.
Mhm.
The one night I'm like, "It's not your little sister that you're walking with, but you're walking with somebody." Well, she ended up actually being followed home, and she had to call the parent of the little girl she was watching at one point because somebody was like walking real close to him, and she got spooked, and she flew into the house. And she called me later that night, and she was like, "You're right." She's like, "I'm so glad you said something." And then the only one that was like really, there's two that were really spot on. One was my engagement, which still makes me laugh to this day. But he was just dumbfounded. He was like, "No, that's not it." And just, he was like, "I actually had to talk to your mom." So that was the other one that was just like, "Oh, okay." That one was pretty close to accurate for that one. The only thing that was really off was just the place within the building that it was. Um, and then I had a really stupid dream that my fish fell out of the fish tank and it was going to go down the drain. Well, I was cleaning his fish tank and it did flop right out of the fish tank and almost went down the drain. I had to catch it. And I was like 17 or 18, so I was still living at home. So those were the three instances that were really like, "Oh, maybe I should really start writing down my dreams and paying attention to my dreams."
Hmm.
So
Have you ever found um, that your abilities brought you some difficult news for you to handle, and it was hard for you to digest, and how did that play out?
there was one situation I remember. I was a little younger. I was supposed to go on a trip, a bus trip, and I had a dream that I died, and I was terrified to go on this trip. I almost didn't go, and it turns out that it wasn't me. It was a girl that looked very, very similar to me. I mean, when I was younger, I had blonde hair. It was like towhead blonde, and she ended up passing away in a bus crash. And I was like, "Holy crap, I almost canceled like everything just because of that." But it, that really kind of shook me because I was caught between, should I go or shouldn't I go? And then I learned to listen to my intuition a little bit more. So I guess
Mhm.
in one way it benefited me, and in another, it was also hard to kind of swallow that because I didn't know what to do.
Right.
Like I said, my dreams are usually symbolism towards something else. So I've been learning over the years how to pick apart what different symbols mean, which has probably been the most difficult part,
Mhm.
which I
Yeah.
guess is pretty common for mediums. I think you have to kind of figure out which each thing means, like different
Yeah.
cues and things.
Yeah. Well, like for me, say for instance, for the symbol for like the state of Texas is a yellow rose because of that song, The Yellow Rose of Texas, or my symbol for addiction related death is I'll start hearing a Janis Joplin song because I love Janis Joplin, that kind of thing. But yeah, I'll tell you my instance and when my abilities kind of um was something hard to digest. I had a matter of fact, his urn is back here, but he was my soul dog, Noah. I had him since he was 2 months old, and he passed away about a year ago when he was 15. And about 6 months before he passed away, he looked at me and I looked at him, and I just knew that he was gonna go soon, even though, he'd go to the doctor, for injections once a month, have a check over, because he had normal old man stuff going on. And but he was still hiking with me, and he was still like very playful and active and eating, and I just couldn't explain it. And one of my abilities is animal communication, and he was brought into my life to develop that ability. And he kept on, so I kept on dismissing it as, oh, I'm just paranoid because my other dog, who was 13, Naomi, she's right here, had just passed away like a couple months before. Um,
Oh, gosh.
but hers was, we knew was coming. We had time to digest it. But with him, I couldn't really, physically, there was nothing wrong with him. And I kept on just having this feeling that he was going to be deceased by the end of the year. And so I isolated myself because of that. Like I just really, cause he was and is my everything. That's just how I connected with him. Like he was definitely my dog or sibling or something in past lives. He actually taught me how to read past lives, um, because we had that connection. And but I kept on like hearing, take him on a vacation where he's the only dog there. Do this with him, do that with him, go here with him. And so the last 6 months of his life was us hiking even more than I would take out my other dogs, or going to different places that we had never been before. And then, my wife and I and my stepkid, we took him to a vacation to a part of Washington State that he had never been before. Even though we travel all over Washington State and Oregon for hikes, he had never been to this part. And I hiked with him to Cape Disappointment and hiked back. And I remember one day I was at work, and like I got off would normally get off at 6:30, but it was 5:30, and I heard him say, "Mama, you need to come home." And it was real loud and clear. And so I went home, came home just a little bit early, and as I pull up, my wife texted me, "There's something wrong with Noah." And so I came in, and he's just laying there like lethargic, gums pale white, and by the end of the week, he was gone. So he went from perfectly healthy and active to gone less than a month after his vacation. And I feel like that was him in spirit trying to prepare me for what was next. But that's hard to digest when this dog is your everything and he's your soul dog, and you would prefer spending time with him than you would anybody else. And that he helped me through my first divorce, my divorce, because I'm married for the second time. Got it right this time. And you know, helped me through my abilities, and even gain other abilities. That was his sole contract, and he was just it was one of those type of connections where I could be in my house, he would be out playing in the yard, and I would just think, oh, I wonder where Noah is. And then he'd come running in like I had just called him. So that's really difficult. And then of course he's come and visited me, and it's hard to connect with him because I just want to pet him. I just want to hold him. But he'll come in times of when I need him, and I don't even know that I need him. Uh, so that's still kind of hard to digest at times, but it's been definitely a learning lesson for me to not only listen to my thoughts and listen to my intuition, but uh, sometimes my abilities first and foremost are here to help myself and other people heal. And that's my primary purpose, is healing. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel
yeah,
like I mean, there's obviously probably people out there that use their abilities for negativity, but I feel like if you've got them, that's what we're meant to do, is just help people.
yeah.
Mm. That's, yeah, I mean, kind of, I guess piggybacking on that a little bit, I guess. So when I hear a knock, I know somebody's about to pass away. So that usually kind of gives me like that weird feeling like, oh no, is it family or is it somebody that I just know?
Hmm.
The most recent one was my grandfather. He was in hospice for a little while. I heard a loud knock. So I've got like a mudroom door. I don't know what you guys call it out there, but like where I keep all my shoes and my jackets and all that,
Yeah.
that connects to basically my house. And then there's obviously that doorway. to go outside. Well, my inside door, I heard just the biggest knock, and I'm like, oh no. And literally within 10 minutes, my cousin texted me and said that my grandpa had passed away. So, I mean, I get that kind of like that oh crap feeling when you get like those signs. It's
Yeah.
sometimes uneasy to know what those signs are. But I mean, I'm not glad he passed away. Don't get me wrong when I say this, but I'm glad that he passed because I know he was struggling.
Yeah.
So, um, that was a tough one because I knew he was fading quickly as it was, but then when I heard that, it was definitely the oh crap moment.
Yeah. Yeah, with me, they'll just come as an image in my brain, my mind real quick. And then, I remember one time when my great aunt passed away, I was super close to her, and I just got an image of her just smiling and reaching out to hug me. And I'm like, oh shit. And I knew she had congestive heart failure. I had called and talked to her the day before, but it was still hard to digest. And I'm like, and then like 5 minutes later, I got the call that she had passed away. Yeah, so that happens to me just about every time. Um, well, have you ever had an experience where, a loved one has come through to help you with something or
Oh, yes, all the time.
mhm,
I mean, oh my gosh, it's my one grandfather. Well, actually, yeah, well, more so one than the other. His house is like my home. Like that was where I felt the most at home. And every time I'm going through something like super rough, I'm always sitting in the living room or in the dining room where we would all hang out. And he's always either in the background or being like, "It's okay, kid. You're gonna get through it." And it's just like, "Yep, I know I'm gonna be okay because he's visiting me and he's gonna get me through it." And it never fails that he just seems to know when I need that little push, and it does help me through a lot. My other instances is I'll smell cigarette smoke and I'll know that there's family members around me
right.
because my family was avid smokers. I don't smoke, so when I smell cigarette smoke, I know there's somebody around me that's here for me. So
Well, are you open to hearing something I've been picking up from somebody on the other side?
I was gonna ask you, you got that look to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I keep on seeing an older woman. She was like in her early to mid 70s is how she's presenting me. Short gray hair, but it's kind of like you can stick it out, like it sticks out about an inch on the side and kind of a little bit curly, who has her hands on your shoulders. And she says, don't worry about, and she references somebody with a D name. And she's just like coming across as like really kind of over your shoulders and almost like hugging. And she's saying, "Let me take your worries away."
I've had goosebumps going like since I've been talking to you. Like it starts here and it goes down my
Yes.
arms. So that I will confirm that for you. And
Yeah.
that sounds like my great grandmother. She
Mhm.
always had the white hair and it was always perfect. And I always wondered how she kept it so freaking perfect. But yep,
Yes.
always.
Yep.
I
And there's
appreciate that.
someone specifically that she is referencing to that is alive now that has been on your mind more worrisome. Um, she's saying you know who I'm talking about, but she's like, "Don't worry, we got him." Kind of like as it's, she's bringing me across an image of like a younger person with a lot of spiritual energy around them, just kind of helping them guide them through this time in their life because this person is really really sad. And the way that is coming across that you are related to this person is like you're not on the inner circle, you're kind of like on the outer circle, but there is uh like a keep on seeing the green connection to this person, almost like you try to want to bring your healing abilities to this person. So it's like not immediate family, but it's definitely kind of someone in that familial circle.
Oh.
Keeps on saying a D name.
It'll probably click after the fact because I mean, there's been a few people that I've really had heavy on my mind, and it's just like I just want to help them, but I don't- D is throwing me off a little bit.
It sounds like Devon. I keep on hearing something that sounds like Devon.
Do know a Devon.
Devon,
Mm.
or something that sounds similar to that. Definitely with the on as the ending of the name.
Huh.
She's also saying that she's going to visit you in your dreams within the next day or so.
Okay.
Um,
Huh.
'Cause I keep on seeing her in like a rocking chair and I'm listening to a radio and she's saying, I'll come and visit you in your dreams. Almost like me bringing her up was her gateway to start opening up you up to whatever that dream is going to be about.
Very well could be.
Yeah.
Well, my worries though, that could have I did something that nobody knows about yet that I am terrified of. And I'm just, and if that's that message of it's going to be okay, then I will accept that as to stop worrying because I have been terrified about it. And it's nothing bad. I'm just really hoping that it turns out as great as I want it to be. But it's definitely something I've never done before. And it's something that it was a big risk for me to take to do this.
Hmm. Because whenever you're saying that, I'm getting closure in my throat chakra. My heart chakra is kind of like opening. So, and then my stomach feels like anxious, queasy. So it's definitely something you're emotionally attached to, like super emotionally attached to.
Very much.
And it's almost, she keeps on telling me that your mind is getting in your own way. Like
Uh-huh.
your thoughts is getting in your own way and getting in the way of the energy of it manifesting the way it needs to. Almost like you're playing a tug of war with that energy because it's your own worries and it's like subconscious. And part of this is the lesson for you to just,
Let go.
just yeah, let go. She's very straightforward. And I'm like, wow, like, how should I put that in words that sound, professional?
Well, she was
um,
blunt as hell. So, I mean, if you feel the need
yeah,
to, go.
because there's like the F bombs here. Like she's like, you
Uh,
just need to fucking let it go and you just need to just do it. Like, don't worry about it. We got you. Um,
oh, I
and
just got goosebumps again.
it was a step in the direction that you've already need to take because this type of fear and anxiousness has held you back from making other decisions that you should have made in the past that you are now aware of you should have made. So this is more of a learning lesson for you.
Oh, everything happens for a reason. There's no coincidences. Oh,
Yeah,
I want to cry. And that goosebump feeling, that's my confirmation. It's always my confirmation. So,
yeah.
thank you.
Um, and whatever it is, I'm trying to interpret how this image is coming across because I've never had it come across that way, but I see her with like a stick in her hand and she just kind of like launches it out and the stick grows and she's like almost like ready to fight and defend. And it's almost like a feeling of whatever you do with this decision, be ready to fight and defend it and don't back down. She's like, you have a problem with backing down to people you shouldn't back down to.
Always.
Yeah. So she's almost like got that stick and she's like, let's fucking do it.
That sounds like her.
Yeah.
And she's with me all the time. Like, I feel her all the time. She's just never, I guess, made her presence known until just now. I needed that. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's how it is with my great grandfather. I feel like my grief for him is keeping me from connecting with him. He died when I was 13, but the man was everything to me, and I feel him around, but I don't hear him and see him, and I feel like it's my grief connect, kind of like putting up that barrier. 'Cause he was someone that was very important in my life.
she's definitely where I got my fire from, so I can
Okay.
relate to that.
Yeah.
Because I have a very big problem. Like my job requires me to be kind of fiery, but I'm also a very reserved person. So outside of work, my personality is very different and I back down a lot, like in my personal life. So it's really funny that you caught that. But at work, like everybody calls me Mighty Mouse because I'm so tiny and I'll go toe to toe with somebody that's like 6'4" and they're screaming at me and I'm just like, you done? Because like I kick your ass. But
Right.
because that's just the persona that I have at work because I need to.
Right.
But me as a person, I'm not like that. So the fact that she's saying like I needed that.
Yeah. And that's why I kept like if you see me, I kept looking like almost like directly behind you. So I'm like, when's the time to bring this up? She's not going anywhere.
No, she's
No,
stubborn as hell. She was
no.
stubborn. Oh my God, even when she was sick, she was stubborn. And taking care of that woman was like, just shut up and let me help you. And she would
Mm-hmm.
just push back all the time. Ugh, but I appreciate that a lot.
You're welcome.
But yeah, you had that look on your face, and I'm like, well, I was gonna ask you if you didn't bring it up, if you have any messages for me, if you're comfortable sharing them, because you just had that. I can pick up on it.
Yeah, yeah. And that does happen with me sometimes, like if I'm standing like, well, um I'm somewhere and I'm kind of in my zone. I'm like maybe eating dinner with my spouse or something, and you know how when you get in that comfortable zone and you're just kind of relaxed, and I'll start getting messages for my waitress or waiter, and I'm like, nope, nope, I'm not gonna do this. Nope. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes they need to hear those messages, though. I mean, I can say I'm one of them.
yeah, yeah. But also I've learned to reserve the energy for myself,
Hmm.
and the things that I've got to take care of in my personal life. So it's like if I'm out with my wife, that's like our time, and I'm not gonna be like, you know, can you excuse me a minute while I go talk to this dead person's relative for them, kind of thing.
No, absolutely. I
Yeah,
100% respect that. That's understandable for sure.
yeah. It's a hard lesson to learn because I just want to help everybody, but there's sometimes I'm just like, I got to keep my energy for me. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Oh, well, this has been absolutely just awesome. This has been an awesome conversation, and that I could not have honestly gotten that message at a better time in my life. So
perfect.
I appreciate you
Perfect.
taking the time and talking with me. And if you ever feel like you want to come back on again, I'd love to have you back on.
Yeah,
Um,
I would love to do this. I'm trying to get more of a social presence out there, and like I said, I've been interested in doing my own podcast. I don't have anyone that I've been able to vibe with and connect with to do a podcast. So
yeah,
even if this is something that you want to do on a kind of regular basis together and we vibe off each other and get other people in on it, I'd love to do it.
yeah, I definitely, I don't know, this is gonna sound kind of silly. I don't know where you found me. I don't know if it was TikTok or Facebook
It was
or where
Facebook,
you was it? Okay,
Facebook first.
if you're not following me, um, I can send you what I posted, but I have like a few topics that I want to kind of talk about
Okay.
as far as like individual podcast episodes, just strictly like on those topics.
Uh-huh.
If you're interested in any of those, we can do that. Or, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to having a regular thing where we just kind of talk about paranormal randomness or medium randomness, whatever.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, well, we can keep in touch for sure. That would be really cool.
definitely. I emailed you my phone number so we can text in real time, and at least we didn't miscommunicate the time this time.
I felt so bad, and I thought to myself, maybe I should confirm, make sure we're on the same page, and I didn't. And then I got the or the email, and I'm like, well, crap. But at
Yeah,
least it worked out. So
I did.
I appreciate it so much that you took the time to talk with me, and you really seem in a good way like a busy person. So I really do appreciate it.
Oh, no
So
problem. No problem. And yeah, let's maybe do this again in a couple weeks.
Okay, cool. I will
Just-
definitely be in touch.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for
Well,
having me.
yeah, of course. Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye.